Hello and welcome to today's live. And I want to say congratulations to all the newly engaged couples that are in this group or couples that are in this group that are looking to have a destination wedding. You're definitely in the right place. But planning a destination wedding can definitely be very overwhelming if you've never done it before. And even, in today's pandemic, how do you plan a destination wedding? Will your guests be able to attend your wedding? So, definitely you need to think about a lot of things before you can start planning for your wedding. And definitely what I wanted to say is, if you want to get from the engagement to the actual wedding itself, there's some steps that you have to take to get to that level. And one of the things you have to do is, I have a list of things in here that are things that you have to think about is your destination, your budget, the resort, accommodation, your guests, transportation, invitation, the ceremony, cocktail, reception, and your honeymoon. How do you get all these things done and have a wedding? So the next thing I would say is, how do you get started? For me, the most important thing I can advise anyone who's trying to have a destination wedding is they need to come up with some sort of budget. You need a budget, you need a starting place. If you don't have a budget, it's almost going to be, you're just like throwing needles at a wall and hoping something will stick. You need a budget to know how much do you have allotted to have this destination wedding. The next thing you're going to need is have a date in mind. And I would say select multiple dates just in case the first date you want is not available. And then think about what destination you want to get married. What type of resort do you want to get married in? Do you want to get married in an all-inclusive resort, or you want to get married at a venue in that destination? And then the next thing to think about is your guests, because if you're going to have a destination wedding and you're going to invite guests, there's certain things you need to know. So that's the things you need to consider. So your budget. As I said, the budget is the most important piece of just getting started. If you don't have a good budget, it's going to be very hard to pick a destination and pick a resort. So having that, what is going to be included in that budget? What's going to be in your budget is the wedding package, the cost of having a complete wedding. And when I mean wedding package is most wedding package, if you're doing an all-inclusive resort, covers about the first 20 people. And after that, there is an additional cost. So what is the initial wedding package cost? How much does it cost for additional persons? And also, if you want decor, because most wedding package does not include videography, photography, decor, entertainment. So what does that number look like? And that could run you anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 or even $20,000, depending on the resort that you are planning to have your wedding. So that is very important. Thinking about what is included in the wedding package, how much does it cost to have a wedding for 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, because that will definitely have an impact on where you're going to have your wedding. Transportation. People don't think about this, but flights to and from your destination and also your transfers to and from the resort. This is something you need to include in your budget because that's the only way you're going to know the total cost of having that destination wedding. The next thing is the accommodation. Where you're going to stay, how long you're going to stay there, what is it going to cost you to stay in that resort? So that is definitely something you need to have some kind of amount in your head. How much it's going to cost? Is it going to be a $3,000 room or a $5,000 room? That is a big number because most couples want to have a nice room, whether it's a swim out room, whether it's over the water, whether it's a butler service. So those rooms will definitely cost you more money. So definitely think of the accommodation, what type of accommodation you want and what that number is going to be. Your wedding attire. This is definitely part of your wedding budget. How much is your wedding gown going to cost? His outfit, also clothes to take on your vacation, because this is most likely your wedding and your honeymoon in one. So you're going to have to definitely buy clothes to wear every day when you're on the resort. So that is a amount that you have to spend to have a destination wedding. Gifts and favors, whether you're going to be giving welcome bag or, any kind of gifts you're going to give to your guests, what is that going to cost? So add this all up and come up with some kind of budget as to, yes, my budget is $20,000, which includes cost of the wedding plus everything else I need to actually get to that destination. So definitely coming up with a realistic budget can now lead you towards, finding the right resort. The next thing is, picking a date. A date is gonna definitely drive the cost of your wedding, and also it's going to be it's very important because you want to pick a date. If you're thinking of getting married now, it's January, you need to think about 9 to 12 months out, only because you really need time to figure out where you're going to have your wedding, securing the destination, the resort, your wedding date, and then giving your guests enough time to plan, meaning that picking a date 6 months out, which you can do. You can have a destination wedding within 6 months. It's just going to take, picking destination and getting everything confirmed very quickly, so you can tell your guests that you're going to be having a wedding within 5 months, so they can plan accordingly. So the 9 to 12 months is really, it takes time to find the right destination, to secure the resort, to secure your wedding dates. You really need time up front to do all those things so you can actually plan a successful destination wedding. So you really do need time, especially if you're doing it on your own, time to research destination. Or if you're picking Mexico, if you're picking DR, if you're picking Jamaica, what are the requirements for getting married in those countries? Also, if you're picking those countries, where do you want to get married? If you're in Mexico, do you want to get married in Cancun, Los Cabos, Playa del Carmen? I mean, there's so many different locations within Mexico you can get married that you really need time to research to see what is my vision for the wedding, which destination is going to fulfill that vision, and what's the cost of actually getting married there. So these are a lot of things you really have to think about when you're picking your date. And as I said, try to pick a date that's not around the holidays. Try to pick a date that fall dates are really good because the price tends to drop at the resort for the room if you're doing a wedding from September on. But also you got to look at the weather. Is it going to be is it hurricane season? If you're picking during the summer, is it going to be too hot to have an outdoor wedding in August? Because most of the Caribbean gets very hot in August. So there's a lot to think about in picking the date, but you really need a date first, because the date's going to drive the destination, and also that date's going to drive the resort. Will there be that date available at the resort that you want? So you want to make sure you have plenty of time to, if that first date doesn't work, maybe you can try the second date. But you definitely need a good 9 to 12 months to really plan a really good destination wedding. You can do it in 6, but it really doesn't give your guests a lot of time to plan to attend your wedding. You really do need to give them time, because if you're going to invite them, they need time to at least plan to attend. So the next thing would be, once you have some sort of budget in your head and you pick a date, then it's picking the destination. As I was saying before, does it fit the vision that you're looking for? Do you want a beach wedding? Do you want a wedding in the jungle? Pick someplace in Mexico like Tulum, or there that the feeling is more of a jungle feeling more than a beach feeling. The season, the weather, these are things you definitely want to look at when you're picking a destination. The flight availability and the cost, because depending on where you live in the US, certain places are much easier to get to. I'm in New York, so almost anywhere in the Caribbean is very easy for me to get to, and it's mostly direct flights. And I have a lot of airline that's available for me to fly out to any one of these Caribbean islands. If you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, in I would say in LA, maybe Mexico is better for you, because the flight there is definitely quicker than trying to go to Jamaica, because that could take you 12 to 14 hours, because there really is no direct flight from Los Angeles to Jamaica. You'll have to stop someplace. So just thinking about the flight time. So if you're in Los Angeles looking for a place to have a destination wedding, Mexico comes to mind, because it's just so much easier to get to Mexico than to get to anywhere else in the Caribbean. So that's something to definitely think about. The amount of resorts that's available in that destination. If you're picking someplace like St. Lucia is a nice island, but it doesn't really have a lot of variety of resorts to choose from as it is in Jamaica. Jamaica have resorts in 3 different locations, all budget friendly, meaning depending on what budget you have, you can find something that will fit your budget. Mexico is definitely like that. They have from low end to high end, and you can pick anything in between. So is Dominican Republic. So picking the right destination and understanding what type of resorts are available, the cost to stay on the resort is definitely a key thing in when you're picking your destination. Also, the current protocol to travel there. For Jamaica and St. Lucia, you have to definitely have a negative COVID test before you can go. You have to fill out a travel authorization form before you can go to that country. Mexico and DR are easy to enter. They don't require any kind of COVID test. The only thing you have to remember is coming back to the US, they require a negative COVID test within 24 hours of travel. What are the marriage requirements? Are you looking to do a legal wedding or a symbolic wedding? Legal wedding is a legal wedding that you do that's recognized in the US, versus a symbolic wedding, which I always tell people to do, is that you get married in the US and then just have a symbolic wedding ceremony in that country. For Mexico and DR, they require you to be on resort most time 3 to 5 business days before your wedding, because of all the legal things you have to do. So you have to do a blood test if you're in Mexico. You have to have all your documents notarized. You need witnesses. And also for you to know that if you're in Mexico and DR, your wedding ceremony will be in Spanish, because that's your legal language. It might be translated in English, but it will be performed in Spanish. So there's just things you need to worry about. Think about when you're doing this wedding, where is it going to be more beneficial for you to have that wedding? Which destination offers you more choices, so you can easily make a choice? So definitely look at the destination, what it offers, the availability of flights, the cost of rooms there, because as I said, you're not thinking about yourself only when you do the destination wedding. You're thinking about all your guests that you're inviting to come with you. But it's your wedding, so you really need to make that final decision as to what works best for you. Picking a resort. As I said, when I'm looking at resort, I always look at I look at customer service. I look at the quality of the rooms, the quality of the food. Those are things I look at when I am referring a particular hotel to a couple who's looking to do a destination wedding. You also want to look, if you pick a resort, what are the wedding locations that you can get married? If you're looking for a beach wedding or someplace in a chapel, if you want a Catholic wedding, do they offer that to you? If you want to do one that have a rooftop. So when you're picking the resort, make sure that your date's available, number one, and then where you want to get married is also available. And they will tell you that when you reach out to the resort. So definitely, have some kind of vision in mind when you're planning, because you need to pick some place that will execute that vision for you. Understand what the wedding package is, what it includes, what it doesn't include, so you have a clear idea of what that's going to cost you to have your wedding. And I always look at distance from the airport, because if you're flying for 4 or 5 hours, you don't have to drive another hour and a half to get to the resort. So try to pick some place that's 20 to 30 minutes away, just to make it easy when your guests fly in, that there's not a long commute to get to the resort. How many rooms are available? Because not every time you can hold rooms for your guests when you are when you're planning a wedding, especially if you're inviting 30 to 40 people. It takes, you want to have a room block of 20 rooms, so when your guests decide to book, there is availability, versus not holding any room. So that's something you definitely need to think about. And when you're looking at the resort and the dates, making sure they have plenty of rooms available, so there will be rooms there when your guests are ready to book. And as I said, family count. I have family, adult, meaning that, is your wedding going to include kids, or it's going to be adult only? Because some resorts are family friendly and some resorts are adult only. So there's something you need to decide up front, what type of guests are going to be invited to your wedding. And then I would say, look at the experience, the activities. What activities or experience does this resort offer? Because you're planning a wedding there, but people are going to be there over the long weekend. You want to make sure there's plenty for them to do. They can entertain themselves. You don't have to worry about entertaining them, because they're already paid for a wedding. So I always look for a resort that have, they'll have beach party. Like I like Sandals Resort, because there's something always going on every night there, whether it's a beach party, an all white party. They had the silent DJ stuff. You put the headphones on one night. They have like a chocolate buffet. And they have games during the day. So your guests feel, entertained without you having to pay for anything or do anything. So try to look at resort, making sure that, these resorts have more things going on than just the resort only. So that's definitely something to think about. And as I said, for your guests, you always want to give your guests as much notice as possible, because they have to plan to take the time off to attend your wedding. And not everyone, can just take a vacation time and attend your wedding. I know most people got to put their vacation time a year in advance. So just knowing that you're going to get married in July or August, they can plan accordingly. And then they would have some idea of what the cost is going to be to attend your wedding, because attending your wedding is not going to be cheap. It's going to cost the average person or average couple more than $2,000 to attend your wedding. Whether the room is, say, $1,200 and their round trip flight is $800, that's already $2,000. So, think about, if you're inviting people to your wedding, it really is going to cost them to attend your wedding. And, make sure you provide information on how to book, where to book, and what the schedule of events are going to be. But the biggest thing for your guests is just for them to know when your wedding is going to be and to give them as much notice as possible. So that's why the 9 to 12 months really gives them some time to, think about it. Can they afford it? Give them time to plan and pay for your wedding, pay to attend your wedding. And the last thing I could say is you just have to do a lot of research. If you're doing this on your own, it's not impossible to do. It just requires you to do some research. I just met a couple, maybe 2 weeks ago. She told me she wanted this resort, this date. We were able to call the resort. The dates was available. We booked our wedding in one day. And that can happen. So it's a matter of doing the research, honing in on what you want, what destination you want. You want Mexico? Okay. You want Cancun? Yes. You want adult only resort? Yes. All those boxes are checked. Now we start looking for a resort that match that vision. So definitely it can be done. It just takes a lot of research. It does take a lot of time, to find the right resort. I would suggest always read past reviews of couples who have stayed in that resort, had weddings, just to make sure that, they were treated right. Whatever issues they had, you actually know what the issues are. Speak directly with the wedding department if you're looking for a specific resort. And I would say, if you have time, do a site inspection, visit the resort, do a walkthrough, eat their food, look at the room category, just to make sure that the resort is ideal for what you're looking for. I guess the last thing I would say is hire a professional like myself. I'm a travel advisor. I'm also a destination wedding planner. So those combined, I can offer a lot in planning a wedding. So if you decide to hire a destination wedding specialist, I particularly specialize in planning weddings in the Caribbean and Mexico. So if those are places you're looking to have your wedding, I can help you. So, what I bring to the table is I have direct contacts with the resort. So if you're looking for any specific resort, I have the inside information to contact this resort, to hone in on your wedding date, to get your wedding date set for you, and also in getting you a group contract if you need a group contract to hold rooms for your client. I'll help you decipher the wedding package, walk through the wedding packages, let you know what's included, what's not included, what you might need, what you might not need for the wedding. So people might think you need everything for the wedding. You don't really need a lot. You just need, to me, good food and entertainment is what people are coming to your wedding to do. And that's where you should spend most of your time. Take care of all your guest travel arrangements. So once we have secured your destination, your resort, your wedding date, then it's, really I create a wedding web page for you. And that's where you send all your guests once you send out your save the dates. So they'll go there, get all information about the hotel, the events that's going to happen, how to book their room, any information they need, like on travel protocol and anything they need for the wedding, it would be on that wedding web page. So to me, that just helps alleviate any stress on the couple, that people going back and forth to them numerous times, asking them questions. They can send all those questions to me and I'll address those questions for your guests. As I said, I'm a wedding planner, so I can help you with the actual wedding details, walking through the wedding packages, making decisions on, do you need this? Do you need a saxophonist? Do you need uplights? Do you need, I can walk you through all that so you can make informed decision, not overspend if you don't have to. So those are things that, I can offer you if you plan to work with a professional travel specialist. And as I said, if you need help, contact me. That was my wedding. At Sandals Royal Caribbean, I had about 80 guests with me. I mean, this was back in 2015, so this was definitely way before COVID. So everything was good. All the guests showed up. We had a great time celebrating. That was actually my 25th wedding anniversary. So we eloped, 25 years before. We decided to do that big wedding because we never did. So we did our wedding in beautiful Jamaica at Sandals Royal Caribbean. So that was my big wedding. So as I said before, if you're planning your wedding, the best way to get started is to come up with a budget. Once you have a budget, then you can decide on, I would say the date would be the most important thing. Like what wedding date are you looking for? Making sure that you're giving your guests enough time to plan to attend your wedding. The next thing you would do would be looking for your destination, honing in on the right resort, and securing your wedding date. And to me, that could be a 0 to a 2-month process, only because, if you're doing research, it takes time to do research to find the right resort and destination, and then to follow up with the different resort to see if they have your available date, get that locked in. But to me, the timeline that's your biggest timeline, because once you have the wedding date locked in, then really it's the in-between stuff you have to worry about until you get to actually being on the resort. So the biggest part of your plan is upfront, and that would, to me, it would be like a 6-week or so to get everything finalized. Once you've done the research, you know what you want, and once you secured your wedding date, that is when you can actually start thinking about sending out your save the dates to your client, to your guests, because you don't want to rush it and tell them that you're getting married and you have nothing set yet and a date set. So you always want to make sure before you send out save the dates, you have a date secure and a resort secured in mind first. That's it. Before, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Coming on next week again with some aspect of planning your destination wedding. I might go into detail just to talk about the budget, and I probably come up with a budget checklist so I can send to you if you want one. So just having that realistic budget will definitely help you plan a successful destination wedding. As I said before, if you need help, please reach out to me. If there's any specific questions you have, please leave them in the comment. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm just here to help you plan your wedding. You don't have to use me as your destination wedding planner. I'm here to share as much information as I can so you can have a successful wedding. So thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, see you.